1 week ago at the Nürburgring, Peter Kox led off the start after taking Lamborghini's first qualifying race win of the season. Everyone sneaked through into turn 1, but there was a bit of a collision going into turn 2. Nicky Passarelli moving over to the right-hand side of the circuit. He, Ollie Jarvis and Alvaro Parent all retiring from the race. After a difficult qualifying race, Jelmer Berman was slicing through the field, as was Fred Makovicky in the Hexus McLaren. But he came together with Dominic Baumann, and that would earn the McLaren a drive-through penalty. So although he spurred on, tried to overtake the number 18 car of Jelmer Berman, it was all to no avail. He was bringing the Ferrari with him as well in the battle for the final podium position. Made a good move on Jelmer Berman up the inside into turn 2 and making it stick into 3. The 4 contenders then came into the pits at the same time, with Peter Kox having come in a lap earlier to hand over to Stefan Rosina. So it was now a battle in the pits between Al Inkel, Vita for One, Hexis and AF Corsa. Peter Cox's pit stop hadn't been that smooth though, so when Stefan Rosina did take over, he was unable to hold on to the lead. Instead, the number 3 AF Corsa Ferrari getting out in front, Philippe Salaquada taking the lead, Winkelhock in second, third place for Michael Bartels, with Rosina just taking 4th ahead of the number 1 Hexus McLaren of Stef Dusseldorp. Rosina's tyres were up to temperature though, and he soon swept past Michael Bartels and up into 3rd position with his sights set on the Mercedes in front. Rosina sent one up the inside going into the chicane, but Winkelhock defended strongly and was able to hold on to the 3rd position. The Hexus McLaren came in to serve its drive-through penalty, but the number 1 car would retire later on with a mechanical problem. But it was the first championship race win of the season for AF Corsa Ferrari. Tony Verlander and Philippe Salaquada taking the win, but with Marcus Winkelhock and Marc Basseng finishing second, they took the championship lead, while Stefan Rosina and Peter Kox crossed the line to take their first podium of the 2012 season. This weekend we're in Donington Park for the 3-way fight for the 2012 Drivers' Championship. Audi had a strong weekend at the Nürburgring, but it didn't quite come together in terms of results. Stefano Telli and Laurence Vanthor looked strong, and Frank Stippler and Oliver Jarvis were taken out at the second corner of the championship race. Jarvis is keen to do well though on home soil.
It's probably going to be a tough weekend again, as we're struggling on straight line speed, but the team's very determined. We've stayed positive throughout the year, and I hope here we can have a strong result. It looks like at the moment the circuit might suit the Audi, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be fighting for podiums.
The Vita for One racing team contenders this weekend are Jelmer Berman and Michael Bartels. The pairing have been leading the championship since the Slovakia ring, all the way back in June, but at the last round in the Nürburgring, they were usurped at the top of the Drivers' Championship. They're only a point behind coming into this weekend, and Berman has enjoyed the battle all season.
Well, it was a really good battle, so far, and I mean, to be here in this position is really cool. It's going to be for sure tough, but I think we've got a really good chance, and we're going to push as hard as we can.
AF Corsa had a great weekend last time out at the Nürburgring, taking their first championship race victory of the season. This weekend, Tony Verlander's not here, and he'll be replaced by Marco Ciocci, who will be alongside regular driver Philippe Salaquada.
The car should be okay. In the free practice we went okay, but we still lack some speed, so hopefully we can improve the car. I think in the qualifying we need to be front because it's very difficult to overtake here. So the main key is to be top 3, top 4 in the qualifying, and let's see how it goes.
It was a tough weekend for the Sunred Ford GT squad in the Nürburgring. Benjamin Lariche and Laurent Groppi only lasted 2 laps in the championship race after a collision forced them into retirement. But Laurent Groppi is hoping for better things this weekend at the season finale.
It's a good thing to be there to finish this championship. It's a World Championship with a strong level, and it's funny to be there with my good friend Benjamin Lariche.
Lamborghini picked up their first win of the season last time out at the Nürburgring, taking the win in the qualifying race in the hands of Stefan Rosina and Peter Kox. Peter Kox used to race in the British Touring Car Championship, so he certainly knows his way around this Donington Park circuit.
I'm extremely happy for Rider Engineering last weekend. We were so close already on a few occasions, and always we didn't get it completely right, and last weekend it went completely right, apart from the championship race where we were not so good with the strategy, but it all went really well, and for sure here we want to finish on a high note. So I have high hopes for a good result this weekend.
Hexus McLaren still have a mathematical chance of taking the championship this weekend. Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makovicky are in the hunt. but only a win and retirements for both their rivals will see them take the crown. But team manager Philippe Dumas knows it's a long shot.
No, for sure. We had a very difficult weekend in Nürburgring. A lot of up and down this season, and to be honest, we are really disappointed about what happened in Nürburgring. But because everything was under control. But the goal today and this weekend is to win for McLaren and for us, and to finish with 3 victories.
Mercedes-Benz moved into the lead of the Drivers' Championship at the Nürburgring last weekend. Mark Basseng and Marcus Winkelhock hold a slender 1-point advantage over their main rivals here at Donington Park. The Mercedes has looked strong in free practice too, and the Alinkel.com Munich Motorsport squad certainly know how to get the best out of the SLS. Team manager Mark Basseng is excited for the weekend.
We know from the beginning we have a good car, a car which will run every weekend. And we at Hexes know the championship quite well, the special thing with the pit stops, and I think we did a quite good job through all the season. And big thank you to my pit stop guys. And Marcus and me, we are always out of the trouble. So in the end we make the points, and now we are here leading the championship by 1 point, and I hope it is enough for the championship.
Good morning everybody, and welcome to the United Kingdom for the final round of the GT1 World Championship of 2012. We're here at Donington Park for this weekend's action, and coming up now is the qualifying session, which will decide the grid for this afternoon's qualifying race. The result of the qualifying race will decide at the grid for tomorrow's championship race, and the result of the championship race will decide the world champion of 2012. 12.9 degrees in the track temperature, 10.6 degrees air temperature. It's only 20 past 9 here, so still fairly early on in the morning. It looks like it's going to turn into a mildly pleasant day in the Derbyshire countryside. You can see the previous session that's been out on the circuit just ending. Here's a look at how the Drivers' Championship stands then coming into this weekend. Just 1 point between Mark Basseng and Marcus Winkelhock and Michael Bartels and Jelmer Berman. Steph Dusseldorp and Fred Makovicky still mathematically in with a chance of winning the championship, but it's looking very, very unlikely for them. It would take a real turnaround, but then last year in Argentina no one really expected Hexes to do the job, and they pulled it out of the bag there, so it's still all to play for. Ortelli and Van Thor looking fairly comfortable to take that 4th place. As far as the teams is concerned, Alinkel looking very, very strong. 234 points they've got at the top, with that 36-point advantage over Vita for One Racing Team in 2nd place. Again, that could switch around, but it's looking like Alinkel are fairly comfortable at the top of the team's championship. Let's hear them from one of their contenders this weekend, Marcus Winkelhock.
Marcus, you certainly know what you have to do. The pressure is on for you today.
Absolutely, there's a lot of pressure, but I try to see it as relaxed as possible. There's also a lot of pressure for the Vita for One team, so yeah, I try to be relaxed, and I see it as a normal race weekend, and then at the end we will see what happens.
Thank you.
Many thanks to Hayley Coxon, who's down in the pit lane for us as ever. My name is Jack Nichols. I'm here in the commentary box just over the top of the Ferrari garage, I think I am. But here, anyway, is the Mercedes SLS that Marcus Winkelhock will be hoping to guide to victory. That's the 37 car, that's the sister car of Thomas Jaeger and Nicky Pastorelli. Winkelhock and Basseng, the championship challenging car, is the 38. But the 500 brake horsepower V8 engine in that Mercedes will be hoping to propel it all the way to championship glory. Heaviest car out there, which means it kind of lollops around a lot on some of the corners. We were down at the old hairpin on Thursday when they had free practice, and coming through the fast corners, there's an awful lot of lean going on in the Mercedes. There you can see at Audi, they are going to have an interesting weekend because they have looked fairly strong so far. In the first free practice session, Laurens Van Thor set the fastest time of anyone at 27.893. And this weekend, Laurens Van Thor in the 32 car will be joined by Adam Carroll. Stefan Ortelli not here this weekend, so veteran single-seater racer Adam Carroll will be alongside him, and he's looked very impressive in that 560 brake horsepower Audi R8 LMS so far this weekend. This is only Adam Carroll's 2nd GT race. He did the Blancpain Endurance Series at Silverstone, but this is only his 2nd GT race, although he's very experienced here at Donington Park, having competed in the British F3 Championship and other championships around here. Let's hear from the Audi manager, Vincent Voss.
Let's hope.
Vincent, here we are at the final round. Your hopes for qualifying session?
Yeah, well, we are, I think, quite ready. We've seen in free practice that everything went quite well. We started the season with a high in Nogaro, and actually we had quite a difficult season. So let's finish with a high like we did in Nogaro. Let's push to put everything together.
Thank you.
So Vincent Voss, there is Oliver Jarvis climbing into the car, so he's going to be starting the number 3 Audi as they try and qualify as high up the grid as they can. Qualifying will be split into 3 segments. The first segment won't see anyone eliminated. The second segment will see 4 cars eliminated, so we will then have a top 8 shootout for pole position. The first session basically acting as a free practice almost for the drivers who are later going to be battling for the pole position shootout. There's the 25 car. Stefan Rossina has just climbed in. He's going to be partnered with Peter Cox. Peter Cox held a British Formula 3 lap record here for a couple of years. Then the track got resurfaced and that was taken away from him. But, well, there you can see actually Peter Cox climbing into the car. So that's a change to what we've got on the timing screens. But nevertheless, there is the 25 Reiter Engineering Lamborghini. Again, 535 brake horsepower, similar amount of power to a lot of the cars out there, which is why we've had such a closely matched season. They picked up their first qualifying race win, first race win full stop, in fact, of the season last time out in the Nürburgring. Taking victory in the qualifying race, could only manage 3rd in the championship race, but it was still their first podium of the 2012 season. There you can see the cars lining up in the pit lane, ready to get this qualifying session underway, and there is the BMW. It's a real battle of the brands, Mercedes versus BMW for the win. McLaren waiting in the wings, but really it's all about the Mercs and the BMs this weekend. That's the 17 car. Nicky Meyer-Melnhof and Matthias Lauda will be at the wheel of that one. They're not in championship contention as far as the Drivers' Championship is concerned, but if they do a good job, they may well be able to wrap up the Teams' Championship. It's going to be a tough ask for them, but Jelmer Berman and Michael Bartels are the men in contention for the championship. And we can hear from Jelmer Berman as he gets ready for this qualifying session. He's down on the pit wall with Haley Coxon.
Jelmer, the pressure's on Mercedes and on the BMW. How will you get the advantage over the Mercedes?
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, all we can do is push as hard as we can, and that's what we'll do. And today is very important, but tomorrow the most points will be awarded. So we're going to do everything today and, you know, to be in a good position for tomorrow and hopefully being able to finish it tomorrow.
Thank you.
So Jelmer Berman looking fairly confident as well. He might. He was the quickest man in free practice 2 yesterday. He's the man who has set the quickest time all weekend, a 1 minute 27.693 for the Dutch driver. Jelmer Berman really has turned into a bit of a GT sensation. He made his GT1 debut at the end of last year, driving the Corvette in GT1, taking 2 wins at the final round in Argentina. Before then, he's had a very, very strong single-seater record, and he's competed in Formula Renault UK, British F3 as well. So plenty of experience around Donington Park. There's Alvaro Perez, another man with plenty of experience around Donington Park, no doubt. The 2005 British Formula 3 champion will certainly have been around this Donington Park circuit quite a few times. Also, of course, as a development driver for Hexus McLaren. There will be a 5-minute delay to the start of this qualifying session. Presumably one of the Ginettas that was out before us has come a cropper somewhere out there on the circuit. But here's a look at this McLaren then. Very, very good looking car, and it's a home race of course as well for McLaren. They're based down in Woking, not a million miles away from this Donington Park circuit. A 3.8 litre V8 engine in the MP412C, and it really has been one of the most impressive cars this season. And it's not the car's fault that it's not the car's fault that they're not in challenging for the championship, but there have been reliability problems. Dusseldorf and Fred Makovicky have a slim shot. Let's hear from Steph Dusseldorf.
Steph, after a disappointing outing in Germany, do you think McLaren is going to do well on the home soil?
Yeah, we have to do we have to do good. We're still in the chance to win the world title. We have to score maximum points and the others have to score none, so it's not a big chance, but we'll do our best to score the victory for McLaren and for Hexes and to end the season positive.
Thank you.
Steph looking forward to racing here. Just a little side note on what I was saying about Alvaro Parent. He did win the British F3 Championship in 2005, but he actually missed the opening round at Donington Park, so he didn't race there that season. He has been around here, there's no doubt about that, but in his British F3 Championship winning year, he didn't compete at either Donington or Silverstone and still beat Charlie Kimball and Mike Conway to the 2005 title. So Alvaro Parent certainly one to watch. As we see qualifying delayed by 5 minutes, which means it'll get underway in just 4 minutes' time. Aha, there we go. There's the Ginetta that's come a cropper on the way down the Craner curves. There might even be two of them, actually, by the looks of things. Yeah, so something's gone amiss there in qualifying. But what a great venue it is to end the season. This Donington Park circuit, a very famous racetrack. It's been hosting races since 1931, and now Enzo Ede will attack as he and teammate Francesco Castellacci attempt to perform a little stronger than they have done so far this season in their Ferrari 458 Italia. Philippe Salaquada is joined this weekend by Marco Ciocci in the number 3 AF Corsa Ferrari. We saw Ciocci go off in free practice, ran wide coming down the Craner curves and went off at the old hairpin at quite a considerable amount of speed through the gravel trap, and he will be hoping for a little bit of a less dramatic performance this morning. There you can see the Ferrari 458 Italia's vital statistics. 550 brake horsepower in that F142 engine, and they've had a strong season, especially last weekend, taking their first championship race win in the hands of Villander and Salaquada. They'll be hoping to build on that. The cooler conditions help them, and it's not going to be particularly roasting this weekend at Donington Park, I wouldn't have thought, so watch out for the Ferraris being strong. And we can hear now from the newcomer to the AF Corsa squad, or the AF Corsa GT1 squad anyway this weekend, Marco Ciocci.
Marco, welcome to the World Championship. You didn't have a great start to the weekend. How do you feel qualifying session's going to go for you?
Yeah, thanks. I'm very happy to be here. To practice, the second one was a little bit movement, but it's okay. So I think that we can make a good job. Was a little mistakes with a big noise, but I think we are in good shape, and me and Philip, we can make a good job. I'm here to give an help to the FIA Corsa and Ferrari to score points, and it will be a very tough race because we are very close, and cars are fighting for championship. We are not fighting for championship, but we want to make a good job. So I think we are really enjoying it, to fighting all together.
Thank you.
Good to see Marco Ciocci here. The 37-year-old Roman will be looking forward to getting stuck into this qualifying session. It looks like Philippe Salaquada will be starting the car. But he's a very, very experienced racer, is Marco Ciocci. We're right under the flight path of East Midlands Airport, as you can see. But Marco Ciocci, third in the FIA GT2 European Cup back in 2010, second in the Le Mans Series in 2011, second in Italian GT back in 2009. So he's got an awful lot of GT racing experience, and he's got a long association as well with AF Corsa. So it's good to have him here. So in about 30 seconds time, well, 40 seconds I guess, we'll be getting this qualifying session underway. Q1 will be our first chance really to see the cars out there on the circuit. They were here on Thursday for their 2 free practice sessions. This will be the first time they're really going for it in anger. Not sure. See the 2 Arlington cars. They usually end up being the first 2 cars out onto the circuit.
Driving force behind that car
that'll be the same
was
this weekend.
Martin Bartek from Matek,
as the aircraft comes in to land at East Midlands Airport.
With his passing, so I think a lot of the development.
The leading car comes over the crest. That was nice, wasn't it? As they then come down into the Melbourne hairpin. And the leading car just making sure the circuit is clear. The marshals moving those foam barriers into position, because the qualifying session will be underway any moment now, I'd imagine. So it's turning into quite a nice day on Saturday here at Donington Park. There is rain predicted for tomorrow. Talking to Michael Bartels yesterday, he was fairly certain there was going to be some rain. and he is curious as to how his car's going to perform in the wet, because sometimes this season the BMW has gone well in the rain, sometimes, like in Moscow, it's had an absolute nightmare in the rain. And there's Philippe Dumas on the left-hand side, talking in French. So 9:36 will be the start time now then, which is about 15 seconds away. And then we will have, for the final time, the GT1 World Championship qualifying session getting underway. There you can see the V1 Racing Team BMW guys ready to drop the car off the jacks, and away they go. Oh, but I think, or have they waited? They've decided to wait. There we go. I thought they were going to try and rush out and get out ahead of the Al Inkel squad, but in the end it's going to be the Al Inkel squad who go out first. Marc Basseng in the 38, Thomas Jaeger is out in the 37, Oliver Jarvis in the number 33 Audi. Then we've got the two BMWs going out, Matthias Lauda and Michael Bartels at the wheel there. Marco Ciocci and Enzo Eid in the two Ferraris. We've got Benjamin Lariche going out in the Ford GT.